What's up? Welcome to Founders Club. I'm Alex Legos, and today we have Joshua Johnston. He's joining the show to share how founders can scale a service-based business or agency without losing their minds. From his early days making $3,000 a month as a fitness trainer to becoming an agency CEO and building a successful consulting business, Josh unpacks the realities of running a profitable operation where top-line revenue isn't the only thing that matters. He reveals why client churn, not lead generation, is the actual reason most service businesses fail, how to successfully transition from a freelancer to an agency model, and the critical importance of holding a cash safety net. Alongside the host, Josh also explores how AI is forcing a shift toward outcome-based pricing and why returning to old-school marketing tactics like shipping physical video brochures can help your agency stand out in a crowded market. Let's get into it.
All right, Josh, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course, man.
I've been looking forward to this conversation. Like Spencer and I both talked about, like this is a combo that we're super excited for. And like for people who don't know you, like the piece that I've just been able to witness is you changing people's businesses and like fundamentally transforming their businesses. Most of these businesses are service-based businesses like agencies. And I think your message about like, how do you scale a service-based business? How do you scale an agency without losing your mind?
Yeah.
And then the second part is like your margins, because that's the piece that a lot of people don't talk about is you got top line revenue growth, but the top line revenue is not what pays the bills.
No.
And the part about running a profitable business is probably one of the most stressful parts of being an entrepreneur. Sure. And so excited to be able to jump in here. You guys grew up pretty close to each other, right?
Yeah, not too far. Yeah, both downriver, south of Detroit. So
Yep.
when did you move here?
So I moved here in 2018 to start an agency. One of my best friends from elementary school that I grew up with always had like a really big entrepreneur spirit. He actually moved here. His family was here. He moved back a few years before me. He had a family business that they were running. And then he ended up like just helping a company do Facebook ads, run their social media content. He started working with that client. He got a few more clients. He's like, hey, I need some help. I was a fitness trainer before I was ever in marketing or anything that I'm in now. And he was like, hey, I need some help. Like, I know you're into social media. Do you want to like post on, my behalf on these accounts? Like, I'll give you the content. I need you just like make the post, write the copy, comment, and I'll pay you like $2,000 a month for 2 accounts. And I was like, $2,000 a month? That's crazy.
Compared to the fitness business, that's a fortune.
Yeah, I make like $3,000 a month being a trainer at a Fit Body boot camp. And I was like, this is eye-opening to me.
Yeah.
And then eventually he was like, hey, I've got enough clients. Like I'm making like $45K a month. Like, do you want to come down and be my COO? I was like, I don't even know what a COO is, but yeah, I'm down. Let's try this out. So yeah, my fiance at the time, we packed up everything from, we lived on West Michigan at this point.
Where at?
Grand Rapids.
I lived there too.
Yeah.
So
Did you go to school there?
Grand Valley.
Grand Valley. I went to Grand Valley. What year?
Well, I only went there 2 years.
Okay.
And then transferred. But that was, 2006 to 2008.
Okay, got it. I was just after you. It was 2010 to 2014.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2014. That's where
we're following each other around.
That's right, man. Exactly. So
Small world.
Small world.
If either of you move, I'm going to expect the other person to follow pretty soon after. So you jump into that COO role. You move to Nashville. Like, what were some of the biggest things that you saw about being in a marketing or a service-based company, and how did that inform what you do today?
Yeah, so we started scaling this company, and it was like, dude, right place, right time, e-commerce. We were a majority actually a content agency, so we did like meta ads, we did social media management, and that's like kind of where we got our start. But we just saw this motion going towards content creation and how much, and at the time, Meta was very much like, you need a volume of content in meta ads for you to scale really any campaigns, because like ads were fatiguing really quick, so you needed a volume. So at our peak, we were producing about 60 pieces of content a week. We had a 10,000 square foot studio in Franklin, which is just south of Nashville for people that aren't local here. But we built the studio out. We had about a team of 28 at the time, and we just started getting all of this traction inside of the e-com space. And so eventually what that kind of translated into and how I got into consulting, we would have other agencies reach out to us and be like, hey, can we come and, like come check out your studio?
Yep.
And we were like, yeah, sure. Like, why don't you come out for a day? It's $5,000 for the day, and we'll teach you everything that we know about agency. And that was like my first consulting gig was, bringing people out to our studio, teaching them how to write SOPs, how to, build culture, build core values.
What drove that though? Because like, did you go to school for business?
No, not at all. I have an exercise science degree. My dad was is an entrepreneur. He's had, serial entrepreneur throughout my entire life. So I think I've always had like the itch to do it.
But where do you get that systems thinking from? Because I feel like so many entrepreneurs don't have that.
Yeah, that's a great question. It was self-taught for sure. I have always found like I've always been a learner. Like I love learning. It takes me a while to like retain information, but once I learn it, like I can apply it pretty well. Like I'm very good at like deconstructing. Honestly, it's probably from building Legos as a kid. That's probably where it came from, like following instructions. Like I'm very good at following a roadmap and being able to apply it. So if like I see it, I can deconstruct it and kind of like figure out how to rebuild it. So I think a lot of it came from like probably like part of my childhood of like just like trying to figure things out and understanding how they worked. But also, watching my dad run a business, like that was always very interesting. And I honestly, I didn't really think that I wanted to run a business until I got like this agency opportunity. And so, I just started to kind of spread and, just being handed a COO position that's, you have to like, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't even know what it stands for. I don't know what COO even stands for. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to learn this somehow. So it's like, okay, well, I remember one of the first books I bought was like How to Be a COO. It was wild. So, I just started picking up literature and, I had some great mentors along the way. One of my very first agency mentors, he sold his agency for like $250 million. Really big exit. He was working with like Fortune 500 companies. So I had a really good opportunity to learn from someone that had done it before, but also just picking up books and just reading. Those are the two main things.
I mean, when you take a look at the journey of an entrepreneur, there is the misinformed optimistic phase. That's the beginning, right? So in that phase, that's when you're excited about everything. You underestimate how hard things are going to be. And then there's a point where you start to realize how difficult it is to be able to get from the level that you're at to the next level. And that's the point where some entrepreneurs go, this is not for me, and they jump out. And the people that succeed are the ones that double in and start building processes. So as these other companies were coming to you, you become a marketing agency because you want to be able to do really good marketing. You become a chiropractor because you want to do adjustments. You become a photographer because taking photos is your passion. There's so much stuff outside of the business of taking photos that is necessary to be able to run a photography business. Like, what were you kind of seeing within these companies of like that was painful from getting to point A to point B that kind of led to that?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I look at service-based businesses, a majority of them fail not because of like their acquisition problems. Some people do have those, but it's typically from like a churn issue of like they just don't do a good enough job, or they don't set expectations well enough to keep them around long term. So, when I'm looking at like operations from like a high level, like I always zoom out to like a client journey of like, what does it look like from the second that they opt in to your sales funnel to the second that they get on the sales call with you, the expectations that you set there, the way that you onboard them, do they align with the sales expectations? And you just follow that straight down the line. And, something that we've implemented with a lot of our clients is what we call like time to value, TTV. And it's like, in the first 7 days, what's like the first win that you can show to them? In the first 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And it's like, can you follow a specific roadmap and a process that is one, repeatable, so the results stay really consistent and you don't have a high churn rate, which means that you don't have to acquire as many clients, right? And then you don't have to spend as much on ads, which makes you a more profitable business. It's like just everything downstream from that just makes your business more effective. I don't know if that answered your question. I just went on a little tangent.
I think it absolutely does. The name Hydra, so workwithhydra.com, like Hydra is talking about like multiple heads working in sync. Like, what do you really think like as that name turns into the mission, how do you see that coming to life in the companies once they start focusing on building the processes?
Yeah. So, like the first head of the Hydra is like the initial business that you set up. It's the thing that feeds everything else essentially. And it's like, really, you can't make progress in business without cash flow, right? If you want to own other businesses, if you want to acquire businesses, if you want to get into real estate, crypto, whatever it is, it's like you need cash flow for that. And that's
Spencer, buy the dip right now?
Buy the dip.
Yeah.
You're in buy the dip?
No, I'm not in buy the dip. I'm not a crypto guy at all. I know nothing about it. I've got a little bit invested in there, but
where are
Me
you?
too. A little bit. Not. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm at hold the ETH, but don't buy the dip.
okay,
Yeah.
don't buy the dip. Got it.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
Makes sense. But really, cash flow is the way that you pretty much unlock anything that you want in business. If you don't have cash flow, it's really hard. And that's why I love agencies as like a very good beginner model. Like I truly believe like if you own businesses, you should own an agency at some point. Because if you think about it, it's like it teaches you the two most valuable pieces of running a business, marketing and sales. And if you can run marketing and sales for your agency and you can do it for other people, chances are you can replicate that for anything that you want to do. So I think it's the best business model to run. I think it's the best skill set to learn.
What are the differences? Because I think so many people in agencies start as freelance. So what are the differences that need to take place going from freelance to an agency mindset?
Yeah, really good question. I've had a lot of people come to us that are really early stage and like, hey, like I've heard about you guys. We want to work with you. But like they're in freelance mode. It's like a one-person show. They're charging by the hour.
Right.
And it's funny because when you look at like a true agency model, like it does boil down to like charging by the hour, right? Like if you have a retainer rate, it's a contract, 6-month contract, $5,000 a month per se. Like that does boil down to like someone's going to do the work and there's an hour attached to the time that is actually going into the work. So it does go to that model, but eventually, like at first, like to go from freelancer to like a true agency, there is a model shift there where it's like you stop charging by the hour and you charge a retainer rate for specifically what you're worth. But it's funny because when you start to build a team, you need to go back around and reverse engineer that because you're like, all right, I need to know what my team's like hourly value truly is. So you can start doing things like capacity planning, time tracking against that to make sure that, the team is actually effective and efficient. And, it informs your hiring process as well, where it's like, okay, do I need people right now? It's like, my team says they're at capacity, but like, where's the proof?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that without time tracking and capacity planning.
The biggest shift, I mean, Spencer, like for you, for your business, for my business, is it's that point where you have clients that have become clients who don't know who you are, and you're reliant on serving them at the same caliber that you and I have always wanted to serve everybody. Like that was the point, at least for me, where it was just like, this takes a completely different engine than the engine that we previously ran off of.
Well, and you're kind of stuck too. Like your oldest clients hold you to a different standard. Like they want to call you.
Yeah, for sure.
They want to text you.
To back up Vincent's points, like, like when you get to that point where it's like, hey, I'm no longer, like, I'm just handing off at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think the most important seat for agency founders to sit in is sales. A majority of, my friends that have very large agencies, they still sell for their team, but they don't touch any of the fulfillment. So I would say like those first steps is like, you need to hire people in, you need to get stuff off of your plate and work on the highest leverage activities, which are going to be deal flow and actually closing those deals and working pipeline. So it's like, that's how you get out of freelance mode essentially. It's like, you got to stop doing the work. The work is like low leverage activity. You can pay someone $20 an hour to probably do a majority of the work. You could have AI do a lot of the work nowadays too.
So there's a acquisition portion, and then there's a profitability, and then retention. Those are kind of the two sides. Like when you take a look at the average client, so Soar With Us, for instance, which is a case study on your guys' website, help them scale 350%, maintain 50% margins. So we got the measurables there in terms of being able to grow revenue, maintain margin. tactically, like what type of playbook should somebody put in place, whether it's a marketing agency or whether it's a different services based company that runs off like a similar P&L? Like what are kind of the considerations that a founder should look at to be able to ensure that they have what they need right before they need it?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's funny. I need to update that case study because they're much larger than that now. We've been working with Soar with us for 4.5 years. They're an agency out of the UK e-com space. They're incredible. They just absolutely kill it. But when we were working with, or what we're still working with them, but like Soar with us specifically, like they've gone through their own levels of constraints, and all of it has revolved around people. People is like the number one thing inside of really any service-based business, and so for them, it was like, okay, well, we need people quickly. And so like we had to build an entire hiring function inside of that business. And then it was like, okay, well, our team says that they need to hire people, but our profitability is starting to like really go down.
Do we need to actually hire?
And so,
or is it efficiency? And then you add AI into the mix.
Yeah, and those are the games you start to play at this scale is like, okay, we're balancing out the P&L essentially and trying to figure out like how do we get the most out of this revenue, because it's funny, some of the largest agency owners I know make the least amount of money because they have zero profit inside of the business. And so for us it's like I'm a big proponent of like, let's get this thing as profitable as possible. I understand people that want to grow really fast and then they level out profit a little bit later, but for me it's like I like the safety net. I like having those fat profit margins. So I know like, hey, we're going to have X amount of cash. And it's funny, you could have an agency doing $100K per month, which is not, is it difficult? Sure. But it's not like that crazy in the world of like building agencies. And it's like, you could be putting a down payment on a house every month with a 50% margin, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
but this is the part that's like unspoken a lot of the time. What I mean by that is, like, you don't get the vinyl record and make a 2 Comma Club off of profitability.
Yep.
You make it off of
revenue. Yeah.
And, this is the part that I think a lot of entrepreneurs early on, they just see the accolades on the surface, and the piece that they don't know is exactly what you just said, that some of the highest revenue businesses, the founders, are personally taking home some of the least. And that's not even the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is the founders who actually take on debt to be able to grow the business, and they have these 600,000, 700,000, million SBA loans.
Yeah.
And so it's so important, but you go into it because you're good at marketing.
Yeah.
Not because you're good at managing your P&L.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, agencies are like one of the easiest businesses to build. They're very simple in like their structure. And so don't take out loans if you're building an agency. Like it's not worth it. There's no reason to have a loan. Like it might take a little bit more time to build, but there's really no scenario where like your cash flow is that poor that you actually need a loan for the business.
I mean, let's talk about that, because like managing the cash flow, the name of the game, right, is acquisition cost and how long does it take before
CAC to LTV ratio.
Yep. Well, not only CAC to LTV ratio, but like payback period. Because like there have been some businesses, I mean, in the heydays of running meta ads, if you could max out a platinum card every single month and then pay it off every single month, like all of us would be doing that every single month. Today that equation has changed a little bit. But talk to us about like, for a business that, let's say they have 100,000, 200,000 in cash reserves, but they don't want to take out a big loan. Like, what would be your plan for deploying that capital as long as you knew that retention was there?
Yeah, well, I think it also depends on like what their profit margins are. I'm okay with taking cuts in profit margin if we have a safety net underneath us. So it's like my rule of thumb is typically like, hey, we should have like 3 months cash on hand of operating expense at a minimum. Like it kind of depends on where people's risk levels are as well. We do 6 months. That's like our tried and true 6 months cash on hand.
And for anybody listening that is unsure of like how to calculate that, when you say expenses, define 6 months of expenses for everybody.
So essentially like payroll, if you're renting, studio, if you're renting an office space, I typically fold like marketing expenses into that as well. So like OpEx as a whole, like what are you spending every month? What's your monthly burn? That's what I'm considering into my like safety net, or people call it different things. They call it a war chest slush fund.
Yep.
So that's what I'm considering, like 3 to 6 months of that in there.
Yeah.
The safest businesses have much more than that, but also there is I'm not like an investor like personality at all. Like I'm not going to tell you what to do with your cash, but also there is like detriment to holding too much cash as well, because it's like inflation's crazy, and the more cash you hold, the less it's worth.
Spencer, treasury wise, like what's your perspective on where you hold that capital?
3 months is always where I stay. Worst case, usually anywhere up to 6 months. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what we're doing and but like, I think the big question a lot of people don't understand is why you keep that.
Yeah.
And like, if you have one lost client who makes up a big chunk of your revenue, you're screwed. Right. And I've seen it a lot with agency owners. Yeah. So you have to have some sort of safety net.
Yeah.
100%. And the one thing that people often forget though is like, it is a people business and you can always cut people. Right?
Yeah.
And if you have, a really big client, chances are you have a team dedicated
Service
to that
account.
client.
Yeah.
If that account goes down, it's like, hey, like we just make that cut.
Yeah.
And it's like people just make those cuts too late because it is a people business.
Right.
And it's very culture driven, and it's really hard to do that when you have like close ties with team.
Yeah.
But like that's where we see agencies get in trouble is sometimes they don't like there's seasons,
Right.
There's good seasons in agencies and there's bad seasons. Like it happens all the time.
That's actually one of the other turning points from freelance to agency is, if you W-2 talent versus contractor talent, they're in that scenario that you're talking about. Like contractor talent is really great because it gives you surge capacity.
Yep.
You can always increase it. Contractor talent is also great because it gives you a cut capacity without wrongful termination, without having to actually do reductions in force as well. And so even some of the largest businesses still hold a percentage of their headcount as contractor labor.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
I think right now too, like right now is a great, like as sad as it is, people are having a hard time finding jobs.
Yeah.
There's great talent that's willing to contract
Great
right
talent.
now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially, in entry-level jobs right now, like we are living in almost back in the day when you think about like hiring in 2008, 2009, or trying to find a job in 2008, 2009. Like AI has impacted, unfortunately, the entry-level jobs.
Yeah.
But, we're seeing right now, like when we put a job posting out, the caliber of the individual from the 4-year university that we're getting applying to jobs is a completely different person, because this is the person that would have actually gone to a big corporate job historically at a much higher pay rate historically. But, in the environment that we're in, I don't know when this episode will be published, but, Verizon recently laid off 15,000 people. Amazon had made a big cut around the same time. And it used to be that you would minimize these job cuts, but you listen to earnings calls now and these CEOs are almost saying it as almost like a badge of honor. Like the Walmart CEO on the earnings call was the first Fortune 1, but the first Fortune 100 CEO that actually said, yes, AI is going to change every single role in Walmart. And I think of Walmart as like one of the less disruptive industries.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and I don't really know what's going to happen with AI and like how it's going to impact the agency space. I think in the foreseeable future, it's just more profitability. Hopefully, we can get more done with less people on staff, and agencies become, there's like this golden era of agency where it's like, you could do 75, 80% profit margins with a very minimal team. I think Ashton Shanks talks about it's like at some point there will be the $1 billion business because of AI.
I think it could be Ashton.
Yeah, I think it could be Ashton too. Yeah, the dude's got crazy ambitions. So it's like, there's a lot of like crazy stuff happening. I think a lot of people are fearful, but I think as long as you're just paying attention and making sure you're at least adopting with some of the times, I think the softwares will be good enough to be able to like support those positions and just help you be more effective at them.
Tactically from both of you guys, like what should somebody in a service-based business be doing today? I mean, one of the moves that like we're making right now is we're moving more towards outcome-based pricing because, in a hourly pricing model historically, we can deliver almost 5 to 10 times efficiency. And so things are just faster to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's delivering more upfront, like those early wins that you talked about. Now with AI, you can really, like for us on the web development side, we can deliver the wireframes to the potential client, whereas we used to get paid for that. Now we'll just send them the wireframes.
Yeah, I had somebody slide into my Instagram DMs today where they literally said, hey, your Instagram content has opportunities. Great. I don't post on Instagram. So yeah, good observation there. And then the second thing that they said is, give me a folder of raw video and I'll show you what we can do. Like, that's not a lead magnet.
Yeah.
Like, that is wild that that's where the market's at. But I'm also seeing it in our own business where, like, if we know that a business is a 7 or 8 figure business, we do the same thing. We'll do wireframes for free now. And that used to be, you'd pay $10K for a strategy session. And then after that, we'd try to get you into a contract.
Yeah.
But like AI has fundamentally changed the game. And we didn't do that voluntarily. It's because the market moved there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. One thing that we're doing a little differently right now is because like everything is so automated. One of our agencies, we've only launched with one agency. Sorry, I'm giving away the sauce right here.
We like the sauce.
Yeah. We're actually going back to like something a little bit more old school, where we're actually like getting like big booklets designed of like all the strategies. So like when they, like a lot of agencies do audits, right? I'm sure you guys have done plenty of audits in your day. But it's like, instead of like when the audit comes back, instead of it being like a Zoom call or presentation, they'll still do the Zoom call, but they'll ship these like booklets. They're about this big and it has the entire strategy inside of like the booklet. So like we're taking some like little different approaches because it's like, like everyone does an audit. It's like, how is that different than the last 3 agencies that they worked with that the results weren't great,
Yeah.
So we're heading in the same direction. And this is a trend that we're absolutely seeing as well is, so like our company, we grew our first 70 clients off cold email and it worked. And we were one of the first to start using AI to personalize each of those emails. But now it's too easy that the volume has gone up. But we're shipping people video brochures that have a 4-inch LCD screen on it.
I love that.
And you can preload videos in it. But we're literally taking the demo video of their mobile app and you open the brochure and it's showing you like basically a Loom video equivalent of the app that we built for you.
What does it cost you to get
They're $20 shipped.
Okay, $20 shipped, and that's with the video uploaded to it and everything? Yeah,
so the way that the video brochures work, if you just do a Google search for video brochure, I should put my sales reps info in the show notes. So we use a company that's called MediaFast.
Okay.
And you can buy the brochures and then they can preload videos onto them. And then there's 3 buttons and you can press those 3 buttons and it can play 3 different MP4 files that are basically stored like on a USB. You plug it in with USB, but you can swap out the videos. So we do video number 1 is a personalized video. So think what you would record a Loom video trying to show somebody. That's the video that plays when they open the brochure. Button number 2 is a how it works process. So for us, number 1, you request your free wireframes. Number 2, like you jump on, you schedule your project. And then number 3, we submit your app. We finish building your app and we submit it to the Apple, Google Play Store. So number 2 is the how it works. And then number 3 is just testimonial video roll.
Yeah.
It's just all clients talking about it. But what's fascinating is this stuff is not out on the open. To your point, there was that slight hesitation before even sharing like the secret sauce. And I have the same thing. Like I absolutely don't want my number 1 competitor listening to this podcast episode now. But I think it is a very great point that you've brought up in terms of how we worked in the past needs to evolve, and it's not always it's sometimes counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were at one of Nick Shackelford's events in LA recently, and there was a videography company. They do like short form content. They were there like filming, and they handed out like the Pokemon cards with the slabs and you get them graded.
Yep.
They handed out those, and it was like, I can't remember exactly what was on them, but it was like some sort of character from like their agency, and then it had like a QR code on it, and then it was like graded at the top, like whatever it is, like PSA 10 or whatever at the top. But it was like such a cool and different, approach to like getting people to reach out to them to get content done. So I think that's what the market needs. Less, don't get me wrong, like I'm still a proponent of like cold email, LinkedIn outbounds, running meta ads, to get leads, but it's like that's what people see all the time. And
a lot of
them are tired of it.
It's counterintuitive to a lot of people, but you just have to go where other people aren't. Like, so as everyone's flooding, like even like I have for our website business, I think we're gonna, like, the good thing is a lot of people are leaving the market to focus on AI right now and like building automation businesses. So I think we're insulated. We're at least getting rid of some of the competition who's moving to something that's a little bit more popular right now. And that's great, in my opinion. Perfect for us.
There's going to be like two categories of founders that approach this like AI, right? Like Spencer, you're in the space where, for anybody that doesn't know Spencer's company, you guys crush it at websites. You do them very, very well. You do SEO very, very well. And like those are the things that you've gotten really good at. I mean, if you jump on Shopify right now, Shopify's AI tool is actually getting pretty damn good at building Shopify stores. Like you could have the mentality of like doom and gloom, this is going to put us out of business. And that's really not the space that you're in. The question that I have for you is like working with so many founders is the ones who successfully navigate these pivots compared to those that just burn out. What are the traits that you think separate those two? And what are the decisions, like how do they approach similar challenges with different decisions?
So just so I'm understanding the question right, like is it specifically for like AI?
Just any headwind.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like whether it's going to be that iOS, what was it, 17, 16?
Oh yeah.
Like the app transparency tracking, like that was an existential crisis for anybody running Facebook ads. And I think we're all looking at AI right now going, this is on the same level of severity or potentially even higher. And so it's like, how do we show up?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've always seen myself as like a technician where I'm just like, dude, I'm just going to solve the problem and I'm going to figure it out. And it's like, that's sometimes just what it takes. And it's like brute force and it sucks. And it might suck for a while, but it's like, what are the other options? It's like, you want to go get a job? Cool. Go do that. That's fine. Someone will pay you. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. Sometimes it is brute force and like, you have to go through a shit season, which, that happens. And it's like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in entrepreneurship world.
Mostly not. And I think that's the big thing people forget. They see the glamour side of things on Instagram, the highlight reel, but it's ups and downs. It's manic.
Yeah.
Super high highs, super low lows.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I've had all of them, It's like, it just happens.
You have to be persistent. And that's what I see out of most good entrepreneurs. They're just persistent. They just keep going.
Yeah.
When most people would be out, they just keep going. They figure out a new way to do work.
Yeah.
And get there.
And it's like dips in revenue, dips in profitability, like going backwards. It's like, it's just part of the game. I think Hormozy talks about like disconnecting the emotional, like bias towards that and like just being like, hey, it's part of the game. We're playing a game, and it's like worst case scenario. Like I always play like worst case scenarios in my head just to get me out of like funks or get me out of like emotional decision making where I'm just like, all right, what's the worst case scenario?
You go back to freelancing.
Yeah, I go back to freelancing. I go get a job somewhere where I'm probably super overqualified and can do it. And, I could be one of those Reddit guys that has 3 jobs and I can post about it, It's like, yeah, like that's the worst case scenario. So it's like, typically it's not that bad. You know? It's like you have the skill sets. Like you have to believe that you have the skill sets to fix problems and and to continue to bring value to people.
So we've talked about the importance of building processes. We've talked about talent and how much that makes a difference. We've talked a little bit about like you have to let go, you have to focus on coaching and training your team. And we kind of glossed over earlier client acquisition. So for somebody who's listening to this going, hey, I have that in place. Potentially, I even overbuilt it because like we're not even leveraging all the processes. The thing that would help me right now is 30% increase in leads or a 30% increase in close rate. Like tactically, what do you think somebody in that boat should be looking at and doing as we go into this new like AI age?
Yeah, I think people get distracted when it comes to lead gen, where it's like the new shiny object. There's always something new, or there's always a new tactic to be tried. And here's the thing is like good marketing typically works. And so with that being said, it's like pick your channel where you know that your clients are and work on it until you figure it out.
Yeah.
And do not focus on anything else, like any other lead channel. It's like, I'd be so amazed. It's like I get on with so many agencies every single week, and it's like 85% of my conversations are we don't get enough leads and we don't get enough sales. Which it's a true constraint for a lot of businesses. And then you take a peek under the hood and they have 4 half-baked lead gen systems. They're doing outbound on email, outbound on LinkedIn, they're running ads, but like all of it's half-baked and they don't pay attention to it. So it's like pick your one lead channel, go a mile deep, figure it out, crack it. Then once you crack it, then you can add a second one. But like I refuse to add lead gen channels to any of my businesses until we figure out one of them. So that's like the most potentially beginner stuff ever. But it's like you'd be very surprised at like people just give up. It'll be like 3 weeks in, and they're like, all right, this isn't working. I'm done. And they just ship it in.
I mean, Hormozy, you brought up Hormozy earlier. Like Hormozy talks about in 100 million leads. I mean, it's his core 4. Right? The core 4 is you reach out to people who are warm that you already know. You reach out to people that are cold. You do content and you run ads. Yeah. So the question is, and I think you're right on the tactics, is when you get so focused on the hack of the week, you miss out that messaging and offer is the foundation of all of it. Yeah. And I know for us, like there's campaigns that we've run in the past where it was an unsuccessful campaign. It didn't work. We looked at it and we just said the campaign failed. The funny thing is we can take that playbook, run it 6 months later with a different offer, and it could crack. Yeah. But it's like having the space to be able to like slow down because the shiny object syndrome, especially Spencer and I both have the same problem too. We're shiny objects that come with SaaS subscriptions. So the shiny object requires signing up for another tool. But you can get stuck in that all day long.
It's so much SaaS.
Well, it's funny because like chances are like you guys have competitors, right?
Sure.
And there's probably someone in your space that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if they cracked it, I sure as hell can crack it. It's like these people don't know anything different than I know. They might know something more, but it's like, I know I can go learn it.
Yeah. And the failure trap too is like everybody inherently knows that they have competitors, but I get stuck sometimes in a mental space where it's just like, gosh, have we penetrated the market? Yeah. And it's so silly to think about, like when you think about it, like we work with local wellness business owners. So think like yoga studios, chiropractors, like IV therapy. There's 80,000 yoga studios in the US.
Yeah. Do you need all of them?
We have like 15 of them. Right? It's just like, have we penetrated the market? Like, is this macroeconomic change going to impact us finding 10 more?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
And so, but like, that's a mental trap where it becomes almost easier to blame that.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're stuck in it. What do you think agency owners should be looking at when we're like thinking next 5 years?
Man, I think the agency landscape is going to change a lot in the next 5 years. I think over the next 3 years, it's like a lot about efficiency, especially with AI coming into the picture. I don't know what, like in 5 years, I don't know if like people are just going to be able to log into Google and be like, run this campaign for me.
Yeah.
Like
Facebook's trying to get there.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I mean, every campaign
that's what Zuckerberg said.
Every campaign I run on Meta now, it's just like, well, do you want to do it yourself or do you want to do it the advantage way? And every nudge that they're making.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of in this nice golden era to run an agency. Like we're still very much needed. But I think it comes down to like really like a few like small teams that are working very collaboratively together. Cause I think there's still going to be people that have to like understand the data, be able to consume that and make changes to the campaigns. Like I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. But like past 5 years, I don't know. I like 5 years ago for me, what was it, 2025? So 2020, like we just sold our first agency, and it's like I never imagined I would be, consulting this many agencies or doing the work that I'm doing today. It's like, things change so drastically in a 5-year window. So I don't know what 5 years looks like, but I feel pretty confident in saying like in 3 years, agencies will still be very viable and I think very effective and a very good business model. In 5 years though, it could, we could be out of business.
Yeah. The numbers baffle me right now because like when you survey people, it's like how many people are using AI in their daily life? It's actually pretty low. Like I think in the founder space we live in this early adopter ecosystem.
Yes.
And that there will be industries that lag. One of our clients has been doing the same process for the last 50 years. And they don't even send out an email newsletter. Like their primary form of communication is something that's printed, that's handed to people every single week. And so, I think there's definitely going to be space there. So Josh, for somebody who's listening here as we have to wrap up, if they want to follow you, if they want to learn more about you, where's the best places to be able to do that?
So LinkedIn is pretty solid. That's where I post the most consistently. I know it's such a boring platform, but I post some good nuggets on there. So LinkedIn's probably the best one. You just look up Josh Johnston on there. And then Instagram, if you want to like learn about my personal life and follow some other content. I rip packs on there of basketball cards.
Oh, you're a card breaker, huh?
Yeah, I'm a card breaker. Yeah,
Awesome.
I've got a whole advent calendar for NBA basketball, and it's like a big cardboard box, and I rip one once a day.
Awesome!
I record it on my Meta glasses. It's
That's
fun.
super cool.
Yeah, people are like, "This isn't the content I asked for, but I'm here for it." So it's more life stuff though. It's less business. If you want business stuff, go to LinkedIn. If you want personal, go to Instagram, Joshi Kobayashi. So
go both places. Brother, it's been awesome being able to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining us. For everybody who's listening to this, or if you're watching online, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, hey, do us a favor, scroll down a little bit, hit the 5 stars, and leave us a review, and we'll catch you next time.